Smoking is the LinkedIn of film. My mom sat me down, she said, it's a very exploitative industry, don't sleep with any director. For example, I do know when my film is going to be filmed. Is it actually going to be filmed then? Please God, 8 very old men there who have, casually writing like 2 crore checks, and I'm walking in and I am just a girl and I'm just trying to women being messy,
yeah.
just women being not making fun good decisions, just being stupid. And the fact that, oh my God, you're wearing a tank top, like people are showing up in banyans like men and no one is saying shit to them, and I'm wearing a top. God forbid. He goes through more hell than assistant directors on earth, and I can attest to that.
Hi Smallies, what's up? I am very excited today is because bachpan se you know that I wanted to become an actress, and I'd been in 2-3 of these
Short
sets
films,
and
yeah.
short films, and I used to be so fascinated with so many people trying to like work and get a project out, itne creative minds. And whenever I meet someone from this industry, I just I'm
You're
mum.
floored.
I
Oh
just
my
can't
God.
speak. I'm literally flabbergasted.
Oh my
But
God.
having said that, thank you so much,
Of
Manjari,
course.
for
Oh my
being on
God.
this
Of course.
podcast with me, and I'm very, very nervous.
I mean,
I'm extremely nervous
okay.
because this is not my turf.
That's fine.
For a lot of people out there, Manjari is by far one of my most creative people that I know in my,
Oh my
life.
God. Okay.
This girl, at the age of what, 23?
22.
22, has been part of projects with Warner Brothers, with YRF. Bro, what glamorous life are you living?
I hate. Thank you so much. It is not as glamorous as it seems at all. It is very, very administrative and very, very hard. But it is fun.
It is fun.
It is fun.
It is fun.
I will not lie. Yes.
So let's start from the very beginning, right?
Oh
For
my
everybody that wants to know you better.
Right.
Where are you from? Where did you study? How did you find your passion? Everything. Just give me the
So
deets.
true. Okay, so both of my parents are from UP. My mom is from Hapur, my dad's from Muradabad. And essentially, my parents are very technical industries. So my dad and my mom are both engineers.
You went to IITians?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
IITs, which is really insane.
Wow.
I know, it's crazy.
And you're not an engineer. How did this happen? Okay.
So my dad, he has always been artistically inclined.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a writer, so he, very heavily into linguistics and literature and academia. So he very grossly overeducated me when I was very young. So I read Vikram Say It's a Suitable Boy when I was 6, which is
Wow.
the fattest English literature book, right? And I read Haruki Murakami and Norwegian Wood, unfortunately, when I was very young. So being exposed to his library and his sort of literary world really pushed me towards an artistic side. But my parents never really told me to choose one or the other. It was never
Wow.
you have to be an engineer, you have to be a writer. It was very much just be whatever you want. It was I think I grew up very privileged in that way. But so that's essentially where I come from. And then when I was born, my dad got a job in London, and I was literally just born, not even a week old. So then we went to London for a couple of years, went to Paris, and then my sister was about to be born. So we settled in Gurgaon, and then I ended up changing schools 10 more times after that.
10 more times.
10 more times because I don't really know the particular reason, but we just shifted around a lot. My dad and he was partnered and he was investing in a lot of different companies. So was my mom. So we kind of just moved around a lot.
Okay.
And then so I practically spent couple of years in Gurgaon, then some in Delhi. Then I went to boarding school in Gwalior for 2 years, and then I went to Mumbai, and then I graduated in Mumbai, and then I went to London to do my undergrad
Where did you do your undergrad from?
at UCL. So I did English language and literature.
So I'm a noob when it comes to
Fair enough.
media and
Yes.
creative arts, and
Right.
how do you get what's the, for me, I just know that you had 3 fields after
Yeah.
10th and 12th, science, commerce and arts. That's it. My whole
Okay.
head. So for people who want to become, get into this
Artsy.
space, yeah, what's
So I did IB, so I did not have to choose a field. But also, so the way that it happens is that I had been writing since I was 10. So I wrote ridiculous poems, ridiculous like bad like Rupi Kaur kind of poems when I was young, and I also used to like song lyrics. I don't know why. So I used to write songs and poems and whatever and stories. So I really didn't think I was gonna end up in film. I kind of just liked writing, and then I went to the school called Singapore National School in Delhi, sir, and there, unlike most IB schools, they didn't offer theatre. They only offered film. So I was like, sure, like I was very disappointed. So I took film, and then in that course, so it was like a 11th and 12th, you had to do every single role. So you had to be an editor, you had to be a director, producer, you had to be a camera person, like for very stupid short student films. Like I'm saying really bad student films. But what it did is it exposed me to different film roles. And then essentially I was like, oh, I like writing. And I like bringing my words to life. So I want to be a director. So essentially that is the way. I think if you are artistically inclined, it is one of the rare fields where you don't need resources as much as you need sort of a sense of determination. Most artistic fields are very self-motivated people filled. Like you have to have a sense of like, okay, I can do this, I understand my craft, because otherwise you will die in this. So you will never be able to work. Yeah.
So is this very similar to, so in, oh god, I'm gonna say like my zamana, but it's just been 5 years.
Yeah, not even 5. We're like 4 years apart. Yeah.
But then there used to be this BMM course, like Bachelor's in Mass Media.
Yes.
Do you know what are the graduation and undergraduation courses right now that
you can use? Okay, so this is like a controversial tip, but I suggest not going to film school. I think film school is a hoax, and I think people who go to film schools are people with a lot of money and not a lot of information.
Okay.
Film, like a lot of media places, is not something that needs to be studied as much as it needs to be practiced. So
nice. I understand where you're coming from.
The way that I can come from the field of is I fell in love with literature first. So I used to like English a lot before I loved film, right? So my motive was always do an English degree. And the way that I also function is that I think every good director is a good writer, and every good writer is a good reader. And for that, to me, most directors that I personally aspire towards and that I like are good writers as well, because they write their own screenplays. I understand that some people cannot write and they want to be directors. That's fair. It's not what I like. So I think if you're going towards, say, this, me speaking purely direction, production, I don't know how you approach that. I don't know how you, okay, FTI, for example, you can go there if you want to go into camera person. But direction, I think if you want to be a director, study English. Study literature, do a BA, that's my thing again. And then at the same time, freelance. You know, do ads, do short films, make your own stupid, really ridiculously bad short films, like to the point where like I cannot show this to anybody. And I did make a lot of those, like really bad short films, and I'm like, why does this exist? Why did I made music videos for like Taylor Swift songs, I did everything. So you need to make those kind of things in order to truly understand like what kind of craft you're aspiring towards.
Wow.
But only for direction.
I understand where your love is coming from and how it's, you know, translated into your passion now. But why London? Like, was it a conscious choice to leave India and go and study there, or?
Yes. I mean, I always knew I wanted to study abroad because whitewash. I don't know, like I wish I had a better explanation. And so I applied to America as well, and I applied to like NYU, Columbia, USC, God knows. And in the UK, I also applied for a bunch of courses. At the end, my own research, I was kind of like, UCL seems like the best choice because, as I mentioned, I had a very whitewashed taste in literature, and the heart of that is London. The heart of that is Bloomsbury. So I was like, okay, I'll go to London. UCL was the best like college in London for my course. So I kind of just went. I wish there was more.
Trust me, but then there's no entrance exams. I don't know why I keep on asking. Oh god.
No, I know you because you're I am, and the youngest person to get I am in your batch. I'm very aware.
In my head, cool. It's like, do you have to write a paper? Is there like a cutoff?
I applied also to Cambridge. So you have to do something called an ELAT, which is like an English paper. That is, but for UCL, no. Sometimes they take interviews, but not really.
Okay.
But you just apply.
It's just like profile based. You have to submit your work.
No, not for English. You just have to write a personal statement, and you have to sound really smart in your personal statement. So I like bullshitted a lot. I was like, I love like Apollyon literature and Dyson, and I just talked about like Anne Sexton a lot, and I talked about these authors, and I sounded very smart. So then that's it.
And you know what? I just feel that I've not read enough. So I'm
You
going to
don't
take a
need
lot
to-
of tips from you to read better stuff. Go on. Having said that, okay?
Yes.
So, now I like just jumping guns. Now I really feel that that entire assumption, like back in the day, science was the best field, and
Oh
our
my
parents used to
God.
just push there, and
Yeah.
then commerce was the next best, and arts was like, अच्छा तुमको 70 से नीचे आ रहा है तो तुम arts कर लो.
Yeah.
But now when I'm
It's-
talking to you, this is bullshit. You've read more than me.
I mean, I think actually, I had a conversation with my dad, in fact,
Yeah.
about this like 5 years ago, where I was complaining about the fact that I feel so inclined towards literature and film,
Yeah.
and sometimes I wish that I had fallen in love with a more realistic degree. Like sometimes I wish I was
Wow.
into computer science or tech or whatever, and my dad is actually into tech. And
Yeah.
he works in tech, right? So then he said to me something really interesting. He said in the next couple of years, the way the job market is, it's going to shift, because say with the implementation of
Yes,
AI and everything,
definitely.
creative jobs are the most human-made jobs on earth, and it's one of the most irreplaceable fields to me, right? You can replace so much of writing an essay or working a code or stock market funding, sorry, but like you can't you can't get an AI to make a film. By that I mean you can, but it will never be a film at heart. It doesn't have the historical context that people have, and because of that, artistic fields need to be valued more. And it's also crazy to me because if you date back historically as well, artists were like employed in like king's courts, right?
Exactly,
And royal courts,
yes.
and they were paid so much,
So heavily,
and
yes, definitely.
they were seen as these people beyond society, as these people, who had this sense of like culture and social sense and consciousness that was more than the understanding of the common man. And now it's crazy that you look around and people are like, say, defaming the same industry that practically made society and the fabric it is
Exactly.
today. These directors, they're not seen with the same, and I understand that because Satyajit Roy he did what he did for cinema is phenomenal. But in terms of because I think a lot of it branches from, if you get lesser marks, you have to go into humanities.
Exactly.
Because of that, people now see it as lesser, because that CBSE mindset will always click
Be
in.
there, yeah. But that's
Yeah.
not true. That's not true, right?
It should not be true. It is harder employable industry, I will say this, because there's no linear career trajectory, because you can't just be like, okay, today I do this, as we were
And 6
discussing,
months, exactly.
you get
You don't
promotion
have-
or whatever.
yes.
You do have to, unironically, like free ball.
Yeah.
You do have to try to figure out what you can do, but in that way it's also more exciting.
Then what got you back to India? Like, did you work there in London with any person? Did you work, recreate art?
Yes. So actually how it came about is really dramatic. So I was graduating and I was looking for like film work, and I had been freelancing. So I had been working in music shoots and directing music videos and sort of ads and short films and helping people out. I had even made my own short film at the time, and then I was sort of very confused about what direction I'm going in, like any other person is, and I was graduating and everything was seeming very overwhelming. And at the time I kind of was like, what do I do? So I was considering coming back to Bombay, but I was also like, I need to stay in London as well. So then I started working essentially with Warner Brothers, and I was, I got that, and I was working with them. I was trying to figure out what film work I
How
can
do you
do with them.
work with Warner? Like, how do you get in?
Yes, so basically there are two ways you can do it. One is like grad schemes, right, which is not the way that it went about. The grad schemes are like 2 years, and you have like a placement, you get paid, and it's like a whole thing, and they help you with like collaborations and whatever. And the other way is essentially Warner Brothers has a lot of divisions, so they work with, say, Nat Geo, they work with Cartoon Network even, right?
Yeah.
So they have a lot of subsidiaries, and these people, they have their own series and they have their own channels coming about, and they unlike Warner Brothers, are actually very inclusive. Like, they want to include people from more of the industry. So essentially I just got lucky, I went to a networking event months ago, and I met this one producer, and she was so sweet, and then she and I kind of just got along, and there was some work that came along, and life, and then I did a bunch of work for them.
Okay, you've come back to Bombay.
I've come back to Bombay now.
Yeah, but what you were 22, 23 when you came back? How old were you?
So essentially, I knew to finish answering your question. So basically I wrote a script while I was working in London. Because I have these two friends, and the three of us are like this big friend group, and the three of us are very different people. Like, we come from very different backgrounds, but we all just make sense together, and we're very whimsical together. And I think that's any friend group, for example, right? And I sort of was like, why don't I just write a script about us? Like, ha ha ha. And then, as one does, and then I just wrote it, and then I sort of sent it across, and it got picked up in London by this production company, and then I came to Bombay in January of this year. Because I was very exhausted from working, and I just need a mental break. So I just came genuinely for like a vacation to Bombay, and then I was like, oh, if this is actually going to become a film, why don't I get this co-produced by a Bombay production company? Then it got picked up in Bombay, and then now I'm making this film.
How's the industry right now? I've heard a lot, there's always this thing that it's glamorous, it's, it has a lot to offer, it has a steep success curve when
Sure. That's not okay, none of that is true. Whatever she said in the past 2 minutes. How is Bollywood? That's okay, so the way that I describe this is there are two things. There's Bollywood and there's the Hindi film industry.
Wow.
Okay? So Bollywood is whatever in the name of God that film was, Nadaniya, that's come on Netflix. And okay.
Dude, I really like that actor.
As a concept, amazing. Sure. I mean, I'm not on that page, but sure. Whatever that was, I haven't even seen it. I've seen reels, and I'm stopping there. So that's enough. There is old Bollywood that I massively respect because we were very culturally. In fact, documentary that came on Netflix about the Roshans. Was describing each generation of Russians and how they've contributed to Bollywood is phenomenal.
Yes.
So for a long time, I couldn't tell the difference, and I thought Bollywood was this now what Bollywood has become. It's exclusive, very, very mainstream, action-packed, masaledar sort of bullshit industry. But what it really is now not thanks to COVID was very bad, but as in thanks to that division, we have something called silver screens now.
Yeah.
So Indian filmmakers are able to diversify into Prime and Netflix and Disney Plus, we're able to have more independent filmmakers come up with more indie stories that may not sell in PVR Gold, but they do sell on Prime. Because our generation, I would like to believe, wants to see those kind of stories that are more becoming.
Yeah.
They're more slower, they're more realistic in terms of what they're trying to say about people, women, people of oppressed groups, and those sort of stories, they are being said all over the world, and I think there's so much scope for that to be said in India, and especially in Mumbai, because Mumbai itself is such a juxtaposed city, right? But there are you see slums and then you see Palladium right next to each other, and you're like, what is happening? And it's just such a culturally rich place.
It is.
Overrated, sure, but very culturally rich, and there's just so much to be said. I cried when I watched Lapata Ladies, for example.
Oh, I love that movie.
Loved it.
Yeah, it's too good.
So beautiful, and I do think that is poignant storytelling. India in India. That is what filmmakers are trying to do. So is our industry glamorous? Yes, but it is glamorous because it's exclusive and it thrives off that exclusivity. And of course, nepotism is a word that can easily be thrown there. And
but does nepotism actually, have you faced nepotism?
I have faced nepotism. Yes. As in, okay, this is coming from a place where I'm also a very privileged person.
Yeah.
I have no direct connections to the industry on my end.
Yeah.
I have a dur ka chacha maybe, which is I do, but from my engineers and doctors, that's my Sharma engineers and doctors, that's what we have, right? But again, I do come from a very, very privileged economic background, so it is easier. It is definitely easier. However, it is not easy. In terms of that, I've definitely seen directors who, and I still have this, and it will always strike anybody who's not in the industry, this pinch of jealousy every time you see work getting made that is ridiculously bad work, and then they're getting 350 crores, 300 crores of a budget to make it, or an open tap to make it. And I've seen it myself working in YRF, and I've seen it on silver screens where I just find it so difficult to believe that people are not willing to take a chance on new filmmakers in this country.
And you've seen that it happen between male and female, or it's...
Definitely with women, of course. And even when Naya, I'm making this film, for the past 4 months, I have such a crazy amount of imposter syndrome every time I walk into a room, because there are 8 very old men there who have casually writing 2 crore checks, and I'm walking in and I am just a girl and I'm just trying to, you know,
You are a small
I'm
girl.
just trying to make it here, and I have like my like chudiya, and I'm just like, you know, like 9 different tattoos and like my dyed hair, and I'm like, hi, can I make a film? And of course, like,
How cute.
no, you know what I mean? Like, I believe in myself and I believe in my work, but it is still such a struggle to sit in that room and sort of present yourself as someone who deserves this. Whereas it's so much easier in terms of men, but also A, young, B, women, C, not from the industry, not very fun. Granted, that being said, it is still, I'm still in a much better place than someone who is, you know, coming from a less privileged place of like trying to make a film and then
Yeah.
presenting themselves. I can at least, sometimes I can put on a blazer and I can look older than I am. Like, you didn't even know I was 22.
Yeah, I didn't.
Right?
I still feel that you come out to be more mature than I am.
Thank God. Thank God.
You are confident in everything, but
Sure.
all of this comes with a cost.
Yes.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
do you deal with those costs? Like, you're basically fighting every day a battle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I can see it, and you know, for us, like for example, on the other side, in the business corporate side, we know, okay, in 6 months I'm going to get promoted. Hook or by crook, I'm going to get a raise. You literally, you don't know when the film's going to go on, like, start filming, when is the consumer going to
so
watch
good.
it. I mean, how do you do this?
I try not to jump off a building. I don't know. I think, okay, of course, the film industry is very unpredictable.
Yeah.
But that is said for any media industry. What does work for me is taking it day by day. Having long-term, like for example, I do know when my film is going to be filmed. Is it actually going to be filmed then? Please God. Okay, but like I do know when it's gonna be
You
filmed.
plan it, like,
yes,
you
and
plan
I
it.
do know when it's gonna hit the floor. I know when we're gonna go into casting. So like we have long term and short term deadlines.
Yeah.
But I don't know if those deadlines will be met. It's
Got
just
it.
a matter of we do our absolute best. So that's that's the method I take. I listen to a lot of Bob Dylan and I kind of hope that things work out, and I try not to.
Yeah, I mean,
Overthink about it
Yeah.
and not like lose my sleep. Like I try to take my 3 hours of sleep a day and I make it work. But the same is said for an AD, by the way. So when I was assistant directing, nobody goes through more hell than assistant directors on earth, and I can attest to that. Production assistants and assistant directors are the lifeblood of our industry, and they do not get fucking paid for it. And there should be a Filmfare award called Best AD of the Year. So I'm not even kidding. Being an AD, wow, it was insane. You know, the kind of manual and physical labor you have to do, plus the kind of intellectual, like some of my best friends are ADs in YRF because, you know, and I have seen them, like even when we're hanging out, 3 in the morning, they're doing casting call sheets and crew, like, you know, schedules, and they're like, oh, ye kal ka schedule ke liye, do we have this rope? Do we have this chair? And they're the ones who are doing everything. Directors are showing up with a cup of coffee and being like, let's get rolling. ADs are everything, and I
Damn.
always, at least for the films that I make and the film that I'm making, want to have a film set where I am contributing equally as much, and I'm not some director sitting on a throne in a very AC'd vanity ordering people around, because
Wow.
that's not fair and that's
you
not
know,
how it should
I mean,
work.
like,
Yeah.
people should see the other side of the coin as well.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I know. Yeah.
Tell me this, right? You know, I told you how, like, I'm a big fan of
Yes,
Fire. I'm a
okay.
big
Yes,
acting girl.
YRF is
I love
amazing.
it. Anyways, but one thing when I was growing up, my parents never allowed me was because women can't be in this industry, it's not safe, and do you still feel all of
Yes.
that? Yeah.
Easy answer, right? Yeah. It is, and it will continue to be, unfortunately, not a fun place for women. I have seen, in fact, I have seen my own friends and my own whatever go through a lot on set and be, you know, not being as listened to, not being acknowledged, not being respected. I have seen DOPs who are women, or gaffers and sparks and ACs who are women, and their opinion be 1/3 as important as a man's. Like full on like DOPs who are listened to less than the gaffers on set because they're men. Or it's ridiculous because a lot of people, especially in the Hindi film industry, are getting accustomed to the idea of women being technicians more than just on the creative side. They will agree that women can be writers, and they will agree that women can maybe be directors, but they will not let women be technicians. They will not let us be the sound boy or the, you know, one holding the boomer, because they don't see women in those manual roles. So when they do take on those roles, it is still
It's a
hard place,
hard, yeah.
especially on set. And on set we have to
Oh
get
my
our
God,
hands
you have to be
dirty.
so mindful.
But no, I was when I started out, I was very young. too young, but I did not give a fuck. So I was just sort of like, who cares? I'm just gonna wear whatever I want and said. Unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't work to your favor. Like, it is good. It's very rebellious, and I do support women, as you should. Wear whatever the fuck you want. I wear whatever the fuck I want. What it did not help me with is feeling respected by people who could have helped me. Right? As in terms of, there's so many people on set who can get you your second job, who can get you the next film after, and if they see you as this like, ha ha ha, la 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 girl, they're never gonna respect you. Like like something I was telling him is that I don't know if he's on cam, but like
we have a very darling person here.
Very darling person here is that something I was telling him is the fact that for a couple of months I took up smoking solely to get people to talk to me. So I don't smoke. I'm not a smoker. Contrary to popular belief, I'm not. On my Instagram, it looks like I do, but I'm very barely whatever. It doesn't do anything for me. I'd much rather drink. But there was definitely, the way that I talked about it to my friends was like, smoking is the LinkedIn of film. You get into the referencing and talking to people only while smoking. So on set, nobody was talking to me. The first set I was ever on, nobody was talking to me. Nobody was acknowledging me because I was young, even younger, and I was wearing whatever the fuck I wanted. Like, I was showing up in a tank top and jeans. Like, what the fuck is Bombay? And we're shooting outside in the sun. So I was having a full-on heat stroke. At one point, I had heat rashes on my face. I had to put aloe vera gel. I'm not even lying. I wish I was lying. The amount of sunscreen I put on my body is crazy during those shoots. That needs to be studied. Yeah. No, that's crazy. And the fact that, oh my god, you're wearing a tank top. Like, people are showing up in banyans, like men, and no one is saying shit to them, and I'm wearing a top, God forbid, from H&M Basics, and people are like, oh my god.
H&M Basics.
No, I don't shop at H&M anymore, but like, this is like a good 5 years ago, right? Fucking ridiculous. But
so you have to dress in a certain way.
Yeah, so, and then nobody would speak to me, and how do I explain this? I am a Capricorn in the way that
That's one.
Yes, in the way that I'm always like trying to think about what work relationship I can make, and in that moment, because nobody spoke to me, I was like, how do I connect with them, how do I talk to them? That the only time people would ever really mingle with people outside of their social whatever status was smoking. So I was like, if I have to do this, I will do this. So then I started smoking, because then they would talk to me. So I could stand, and I know what you're saying.
You know, a lot of women do this.
Yeah. 100%.
I have seen a lot of women smoke because they want to be part of these gang men.
It was the only way I could secure my next job, and it's the only way that I could get them to respect me, which is fucking sad. It's so sad. But like smoking with them in groups or even talking to them is the only time that they spoke to me, and that led to me actually becoming really good friends with them. Now
it's so stupid, but that's the fact. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and then I could stop.
You're like, oh, now it's done.
Now we can be friends, and now we can just actually talk. But yeah, so the kind of things you have to do is crazy.
Whoa. But now you're making your own film. Tell us about this. How is this journey? How are you like approaching people? Where are you getting the money from?
Okay, so I'm approaching people. First, I was cold emailing because what do I have to lose really? And now that I actually have very credible production companies backing me, thank you God, now I can approach some of my producers. So life is easier. But the way that I went about this journey is generally, like I told you, is just happen. You know, I'm a writer, so writing is something that comes so naturally to me that writing the script was the easiest part of this. And I wrote it with my best friend, Shara Roxana, and it was so easy to work with her because she's lived with me for years, and the story is also loosely based off our friendship and this other girl called Khushi. It was very, very easy for the three of us to sit down and have brainstorming sessions. That was the best part about this, to work with your best friends. And I especially asked her to write this because to me, Roxana is one of the most like talented writers I know, and also because she offers a perspective that I don't have, that it was easier to make this. So we kind of just wrote it, and neither of us really thought anything would happen. Like, we were both having this attitude of like, ha ha ha, we'll see. And then when it took off, it took me like 2 months after it properly took off to me to call her from Bombay and be like, listen, Roxana's actually happened. And then she was like, oh, and then she said wow like 20 times on that call. She was like, wow, what, wow. And I was like, yeah, I don't know, but I don't think it's gonna kick in until it kicks in.
But like, can you tell us like you like Bollywood women.
Why have you tagged me like this? Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I think I just say a creative director
Sure.
in India
Sure.
who is a woman
Sure.
and is making a film based on women.
Women.
Yeah. How does this
Come
sit
about?
with, yeah.
It's okay. I'll tell you this honestly. Do you remember Gile Zara?
Yeah.
Right? So it got pushed indefinitely, and I was
Oh yeah. The Alia Bhatt, Priyanka Chopra, Katrina Kaif thing.
This is insider. This is insider industry info,
Yeah.
but it's been pushed indefinitely.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh god, because again, me like any other person in this country, what was our favorite film? Something right?
Yeah.
So I was like, I would have loved to see women being
Messy, yeah.
just women being not making fun good decisions, just being stupid, and not just stupid when it comes to love, just stupid in general, right?
Yeah, because we are stupid
We
in
are,
general.
and literally, I remember you approached me yesterday saying that, oh my god, we're so alike, we're both ambitious and we both have bad relationships. And I said, what? I was like, how do you know I have bad relationships? Like, is this common knowledge? Like, we've never spoken before. And I mean, you're not wrong. But
And we're Capricorn.
yeah, you're Capricorn.
Yeah.
That's crazy. When are you born?
10 Jan.
That's amazing.
You're 17.
17. How did you know? Because my
Instagram.
handle.
He noticed.
Okay, yeah, 17 January. But yeah, so I was like, I want to show a film, especially brown women, for fuck's sake, right? You know, just doing stupid things, cussing and working on. But I don't want it to be one of those like young adult fiction films where we're like, oh my god, I'm making fun decisions, but life comes together at the end. I want it to be very free falling. So my film, it's called Homemade.
Wow.
Yes, it's about these like 3 women, and it's these different backgrounds they have in terms of like their British brown and their mixed race, and they're sort of understanding their sense of identity, but they're also understanding each other. So the way that I can sum this up is perspective and performance. So
Wow.
this film is very much about perspective. There are a lot of scenes in this film where the camera and the fourth wall is being broken, and there are a lot of scenes where you're understanding that they're performing, and then sort of their sense of identity is performative as well. So it's a very coming of age, slow sort of film. It is funny because obviously if there are female friendships, it's going to be funny, but it is of course
And
but
bitchy.
if you're looking to if you're looking to see this to get some sort of resolution, there is no resolution. There's conflict, and then there is more conflict, and then that's it.
I'm
'Cause
so excited.
that's life.
I'm
And
so
the way
excited.
that I've been pitching this to people is like, imagine these 3 women, they're leading these parallel lives, and you've kind of taken like a scoop of their life. It's like an extract, and then so you're only seeing that. So there's not a lot of like dialogue heaviness, there's not a lot of masala and action. There's no action in this, but it is just a slice of life, and it's very beautiful, and it's about the treatment of London and Bombay, because both of these cities are very close to my heart, but done in a way that, you know, you see it from the lens of women, written by women.
Yes,
my
I want this.
My crew is also women.
Not because she's a woman. The work is beautiful.
I mean, yeah, but also because what is a DOP really? They generally have a lens, and I want it to be very female gazed.
Yeah.
And that starts with a cinematographer. That starts with giving women more technical roles. That starts with having creative input about women from women, you know? And if people think that that is gender biased, then yes.
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 Yes. Sorry. But yeah, and it's very fun. It's very sexually ambiguous, and there's a lot of relationships and drama, and even sexuality is mentioned. But again, it's very free falling. Like, there's nothing definitive. People don't need to know how they identify. People don't need to know who they really are. You just kind of, it's very much like watching your friends, you know? You're kind of just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
But you just see them making these decisions, going through their 20s, living in different cities, living together, making these friendships, and letting them take control of their lives as it
I'm
goes.
so excited for this. And we like get it done soon. And
I know.
and actually, I also want to audition for it.
Yeah, you mentioned that to me before. Yeah.
I'm gonna pitch myself again.
We are casting right now, to be fair. We are castings, yeah.
Anyways, lastly, I want to just touch on one thing, you know. Anyone who's entering the industry, like especially women who are entering the industry right now in your
Yes.
space, you know, something that you would want to hear or would have appreciated if
My
somebody
God.
would have told you
Yes.
when they were just starting in, what would be
Yes.
these 2-3 lines?
Oh my god. Okay. It depends. If you're going into direction, I think the way to do it is just do it. I wish there was a better way. All you need to become a director, no, all you need to become a screenplay writer is to write a screenplay. There is no definition beyond
Cute.
this. Get your laptop out, write it. You probably have a story in your mind. Just write it. Maybe the first draft is gonna suck, and it did. And the 7th draft is also gonna suck, and it also did. But maybe by the 35th draft, things will make sense. And it did happen to me. My first draft, God forbid anyone sees it, it was so bad. And now it's okay, right? So that is my advice. If you want to become a director, write a screenplay. You can submit a bunch of contests. You can get it funded even. So having that material on you in itself will level you up. If you want to go into production or cinematography, I have no advice for you. I have no idea. I genuinely have no idea. I've seen my cinematography friends and my friends in ACing, and they kind of just assist. But my advice also would be is to not believe in this entire you have to assist for 10 plus years to become a director kind of like, I understand it gives you experience and exposure, but at some point it's repetitive. You don't have to become a third, second AD, first AD. Become an AD, genuinely get to be on set, whether that's for an ad, whether it's for a music video, which you can, by the way, meet random people in Bombay if you are in Bombay or in London. Literally your third friend would probably make music, right?
Yeah.
And she probably needs you to make a music video for her. Make it on a DSLR, make it on a Canon, whatever, and just run around the city making it, and then put it somewhere. Like, I remember this one of these directors that I follow on Instagram, Aditya, he just literally said, you just make a film and put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's so stupid, but someone literally made a film called This Is About Nothing and Everything, and then he just got 7-figure deal for a film.
Wow.
From YouTube. It's crazy. And I understand that because I'm not someone who would do that. I would not someone who would put their work on YouTube because I would want it to be a full finished, furnished film. However, have your own IP, write a screenplay, and just I wish I was cold email. In Bombay, cold emailing really works. In London, it does not. London is a very exclusive film industry. Bombay, cold emailing will work. Meet people, talk to people, get feedback on your script. No one is against having coffee for 30 minutes. Nobody. Especially not in Bollywood.
Aww. Exactly.
It's
so
true. Actors have egos, directors have egos, ADs, they have nothing. they have no egos, ACs have no egos. Meet them, talk to them, they will genuinely give you advice, and they might even connect you to the right people. And become best friends with ADs. Nobody is stronger than an AD in this industry. They have contacts. They actually are in control, even though people don't acknowledge it. They will get you to the right places. Some of my favorite people who have actually helped me are ADs. So that's my advice.
Perfect. I think that's a wrap. And thank you so much for being on this podcast with me. And it's going to help a lot of girls out there.
I hope so. Don't quit.
Don't quit. It gets better.
I think.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Did we cut?
Yeah, we got.